To the X-Bomb Sports live show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and once again, we're coming to you live here from the beautiful campus in Lombard, Illinois, of the Illinois Media School. I hope you all are having a fantastic Saturday. I know here in Illinois, it's a little bit cloudy, looking a little bit dreary, but fall's here finally. It is officially October, October 5th, that is, for you out there who are interested in the date, but it is, to me, this is perfect weather. I don't know about anybody else. I love this fall weather. It's just that perfect temperature, especially since I run pretty hot myself. I can't lie. I'm a pretty warm individual as it is, pretty hot and steamy. It just comes with the personality and the look, of course, and it's all hair in the eyes. You guys can't see the eyes, of course, because why not? But of course, you guys can see I'm once again alone by myself. No Tyler, no Tom, but I am not completely alone. In the back there is, of course, my producer, Mr. Jake Bradley. Jake, how you doing, man? He says he's doing great. All right. Hopefully, we'll be able to get him to finally speak, get everybody to be able to finally talk that's working in the back there when we finally get these speakers up, where we've gotten word confirmation that they should be back. So hopefully we'll get another voice in here when we do these solo shows in the future. So I hope you guys are really ready for this one because we've got to go over a lot of stuff. We've got baseball, football, more football. We've got a lot to really pour through, and of course some college, not just football, but sports in general. So I hope you guys are ready for this one because we're about to get this started in the first half. We are kicking this off with some talk coming from the north side. Guys, if you haven't heard, Chicago Cubs had a little bit of a moment happen for them in any relationship, as we all probably have gone in our lives, right? We've all had relationships. I know this is kind of my tendency to go to this type of thing, but let's be realistic, right? When we talk about these type of things, there's always a marriage, a relationship, some type of thing that kind of comes with this stuff when it comes to coaches and managers. And the Cubs, unfortunately, said, hey, after 5 years, we've given it a good try. We had one fantastic year. These 5 years really have been very good, very memorable. We've had the good, we've had the bad, but it's time to call it quits. So Joe Maddon, the manager for the Chicago Cubs, is out. He was out before the season even ended, right? And you know what? Seems like he's in pretty high spirits. And this was something that we had been hearing for like the last 2 years, that Joe Maddon was going to be gone. I don't know why the last 2 years it's been like that, but that was just the word, is that, is Joe Maddon going to find himself out of the job? And I thought, why? What did he do? What did he say? What did he put a curse on the Ricketts family's children or something? Like, what caused him to be such, the enemy? There's a lot of questions about this, right? Who's to blame? What's the cause? Where's that at? There's, where's he going to go next? And then what are the Cubs going to do next, right? All those questions are trying to be answered right now. So I thought, hey, let's try and answer a few of those questions, Let's answer a few of those questions if we can. So let's start it off with, who or what, right? Because that's the big thing. Who or what caused the end for Joe Maddon? What caused Joe Maddon to finally have that? What caused the organization to finally say, you know what, Joe, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to go in a different direction. Look, for the career he's had a tremendous career, right? I mean, you look at the record has been so strong. But since winning the World Series in 2016, you see right there, 90-plus wins over the last 2 years since 2017, 2018. And then this last season, you dropped down to 84 wins. That's not good. That you can't have that. You won over 100 games when you went to the World Series, okay? You were 103-58. They dominated. Okay? And then from there, they just gradually dropped down. It's 92, then 95, and then 94 wins, or 84 wins. You can't do that, Now, is that all his fault? Not really. No, not really. I'm not going to blame him too full-heartedly, right? Roster changes came about. Some injuries came at the wrong time. Who I really think is at the top of the list to probably blame here, and this is maybe conspiracy theories out there or whatnot, but this is just what I'm feeling. I think it is the Ricketts family that's at the top of the list. Okay? The Ricketts family has, for the last couple years, since the Joe Maddon talk, there's been a lot of things that have gone wrong with them, right? There's the infamous emails coming from the father, the patriarch of the family, right? There are the suspicions that maybe they were going to sell the team and move on from the Cubs, right? They make the transition to something different. There's been a lot of talk in that sort of manner that the Ricketts family just don't seem to be interested in being the owners anymore, right? So I'm under the suspicion that maybe the Ricketts family implemented a lot of these ideas into possibly the media's head, like, hey, maybe we're going to get rid of Maddon. Now, that's a wide conspiracy theory. There's nothing to prove that. There's nothing to back that. There's nothing I can show you that'll say that. There's a gut feeling inside me that just says that maybe the Ricketts family was behind the whole thing, right? It's kind of like when you play, it's like the whole murder mystery thing, and you say, oh, the butler did it, right? That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, the owner did it. The owner's to blame. I wouldn't blame Epstein. I think Theo Epstein, has done a great job as the president. I think he's done a great job running this team. He controls the whole front office. He understands. He works well with Joe. I think the Ricketts family, like a lot of teams right now in professional sports, want to go with a manager that they see as being more controllable, right? Maddon's old school. He likes to do things his way. He likes to do things spontaneous. He likes to be, big and bold and aggressive and fight back against management and fight for his players. And I hate the owners, and that's great. But the owners don't like that. It's just a feeling in my gut that says owners pushed the limits possible to see if they could get Joe Maddon out of the organization. And they did it, and they found the perfect moment, which is that the Cubs were losing. We've got to change things. It's been 3 years since we won the World Series. Now we have to do away with everything we've done, right? Mind you that he won 471 games for the Cubs, right? He has the best winning percentage with this Cubs team. Yes, it's taken a slide over the last couple years since winning the World Series. I'm just saying it's kind of a hard loss. So away from, obviously, Joe, who's to blame for that, bigger question kind of stands, now it's like it's a gumball rally, basically, for Joe Maddon, right? Who's going to win his services? I call it the auction because it really is going to be that thing where you bring him out on stage, all the teams are going to be looking at him that say, we need a manager. We have fired our manager. We need a new manager. And every team is going to be putting up their paddle to say how much money they can pay for what is arguably the best manager right now in baseball. And if you look at his record, it goes to show for itself, right? 1,252 wins, right? 54% winning percentage, okay? Now, 32 and 35 in the postseason, not strong, but was a part of 2 World Series championship teams. He was a 3-time manager of the year, right? 3-time manager of the year award winner. It's what you really want. It's what you really need to have in your organization, okay? And don't forget, too, he was a part of that 2008 Tampa Bay Ray team that won the pennant, the AL pennant. And they won 97 games in 2008. That's also when he won his first Manager of the Year award. So you have to remember that. And he's good at what he does. He knows his stuff. And there's a lot of teams that are going to be biting for his service. There's really 2 teams that have been kind of mentioned more than anybody, right? San Diego Padres, Los Angeles Angels. Angels make sense because he already had worked for them as a manager and a coach before, right? He's beloved there. He did a great job. He was a part of the 2002 team that won the World Series. So he's got that connection with the Angels already. So it makes sense for him to go back. Plus, you've got Mike Trout. You've got Tommy La Stella, who looks like he's really improved. Shohei Ohtani's your little special weapon. You've got some really good prospects coming up from them, with your top guy being Joe Adell, who looks like he's going to be a strong player. And you've got young pitchers in the system, too, that look like they're going to be really starting to come up eventually, too, within their farm system. There's a lot that the Angels have to be able to work with. There is so much. And obviously, with Mike Trout being there, that is an attractive look. Now, one player should not, I think, make the difference, but it does help to know you have maybe one of the best players, if not the best player, the face in all of baseball, right? So Angels, I think, is there. But the Padres right now just look more attractive. They just do. They look like a team that's going to be on the up and up, right? First off, Fernando Tatis Jr. may win Rookie of the Year. Who knows, right? He played well enough, okay? You got Manny Machado, and you've got a lot of young arms coming up. You know, their top prospect is Mackenzie Gore. He's probably the best left-handed pitcher right now in the minors, okay? Then you've got Luis Patino. Kyle Allen's already been brought up. Ryan Weathers is there. Miguel Baez. I mean, they've got so many guys who are sitting in the farm system that are going to, I think, wreck shop. And not only that, but it's a combination of lefties and righties that they can work with. Guys who are hitting in the 94, 95 plus mile an hour fastball range, which seems to be kind of the thing, right? Fastballs, power pitchers, that's the way a lot of teams are going. And Maddon works well with that stuff. So that might be the way to go. San Diego's got a good unit. They've got young prospects. A lot of them are in the top 100, something to really work with. Now, other teams that are sitting out there too, Philadelphia Phillies are really attractive, obviously, with Bryce Harper. They've got a young core that looks really good. The Mets, I'm a little iffy on the Mets right now. I think they could be very good, could be very attractive themselves too. They've got a pretty good core. Certainly, they look like they've got one of the best rotations right now with, Syndergaard and DeGrom, and then you've added Stroman. So you've got great pitching there, I would have to say. You know, Mickey Callaway's out. You know, that's already been confirmed on that. So with Mickey Callaway being out, you know, it's a great chance for a guy like Maddon to step in, especially being from a big city like Chicago, going to New York. It's a great transition type of thing. Some of the other teams up here, though, Kansas City Royals, I don't think he's going to want to touch that team. I think they're in too much of a transition point at this time. They're trying to figure things out. They're trying to understand things. They're trying to transition to some new players, bring in some young blood. Pirates, I don't know if he's going to go to a rival. I don't know. I mean, I know Hurdle's out. I know that, they look like they might be decent. But all in all, I wouldn't take the risk on that. San Francisco is always a good choice. I mean, look, you're in the Bay Area. It's becoming an attractive site. They can offer a lot of money to a guy like Joe Maddon, certainly with the amount that they have sitting around now for that managerial position with Bochy being out. You know, he's retiring, so it's a great opportunity to make that transition, right? Bochy's one of the great managers. I believe that. I think he's one of the great managers of his time. And I think Joe Maddon's a great replacement for that. I think he could step in and really do a great job for that, especially with a team that still has a good amount of veterans that perform at a top level and young guys that are starting to make their rise into the team as well. So there's something there for everybody. One of my favorites, though, that I didn't put up on here, as you guys see, and I'll just throw this out there just to make everybody mad, but, you know, there may be an opening on the south side in case Maddon's interested. I'm not saying I haven't respected what Renteria has done, but hey, Maddon, if you don't want to leave Chicago, all you have to do is come a few more miles south. All you got to do is trade in the red, white, and blue for some black and white pinstripes, baby. We'll take you on any day. And honestly, I say that jokingly, but I know biasly, yeah, I'm a White Sox fan, but look at the roster. Roster's not bad. It's not looking too bad. Little bit of fixes here and there. Definitely need to make some improvements in the pitching, certainly. But you make those fine-tuned adjustments, I think this team could be there. Just got to get the right skipper. That's all you need. That's all you need. So, but honestly, if I'm looking at the two teams I think right now that are his favorites, I think it's Angels, I think it's Padres. So, Maddon, best of luck to you, man. But obviously, after Maddon, the biggest question that is standing right now in Chicago, who's going to manage this team? Who's the captain of this team now? Who's going to take control of this ship? Who's going to write the course? That's hard to say, honestly. Because I mean, look, there's a lot of names out there, right? These are names that are coming from us by, Chicago Tribune. They put up a list of names. I thought, you know what, these guys actually sound like legitimate candidates, although one has been added for the extra added bonus. But these guys sound like they could actually be legit guys to work with it. So we'll go through these guys, just really quick. So Carlos Beltran, working with the Yankees organization as a specialist. He's been looking at film, working with the young players, mentoring them, helping them with their hitting and stuff. He's been very hands-on with a lot of the young players now. He understands the game. He was around for 20 years. He, 3 Golden Gloves, 9 All-Star appearances. Great player as he was, but he also understands the game really well. Could be very good for the Cubs, particularly in helping guys like Baez and, Bryant making that next step to being kind of like superior. They already are very superior athletes, but taking that step to being kind of faces within baseball that you recognize and say, oh, yeah, Major League Baseball, that's, Javi Baez and Bryant. Another name on here is obviously Bruce Bochy, right? Which sounds crazy because he's retiring, right? But why not take the shot? He's retiring. Give him a call. Yo, Bruce, you want to manage the Cubs? I know you've been on the West Coast for a while. You want to come to Chicago and manage? Now, I don't think this one's going to happen. This is a long shot, but why not give him the call? Take a chance. See if one of the best managers in baseball for the longest time is willing. Plus, don't forget, he's got the connection with Theo Epstein because they worked together on the Padres in '98 when they won the National League title. Remember that. Now, another big name on here, obviously, that we've heard a lot about, Joe Girardi. I think Joe would be very good for the Cubs, but here's an issue with Joe Girardi. He's the same as Maddon. He's an old-school manager, abrasive. He likes to fight back against management, and I don't think the Ricketts family wants to deal with that. And it's nothing having to do with Epstein. It's all having to do with the Ricketts family. I don't think they want a manager who's going to have a lot of pushback. So I think that's why a guy like Girardi is going to be out. But he's still a good guy to ask for when it comes to a manager. So I would still approach him to see if he's interested. Raul Ibanez, for a lot of people, that's kind of like a what? Why him? You got to remember, this is one of the smartest guys in baseball. This guy knows baseball on a multitude of levels. He knows pitching. He knows hitting. He was one of the better hitters for a very long time. He was a part of teams that had kind of been, he had been working with Maddon as a player, and he was always being projected as maybe the next coach that would work in with Maddon on his crew, on his staff. That never really materialized, but he's still a really good, young, talented mind. He's very good at what he does, and he's veteran enough where I think these younger guys can really listen to him. Now, these are the Cubs guys that I'm about to list, right? So you've got Mark Loretta, David Ross, Kevin Youkilis, which for those that don't know, yeah, he's still connected with the Cubs, believe it or not, and Will Venable. All of these guys have been named as potential Cubs players that can actually kind of step up, right, and be the manager. Now, real quick, Mark Loretta, really good bench coach, right? Worked as a special assistant for the Padres, well-respected player within the game, played for a multitude of teams, right? He's been good. He was the Brewers manager, led them to consecutive playoff berths, right? Working with the Cubs now, he's worked well with these young guys. That's great. And then you got David Ross. David Ross, former Cub, won a World Series, not too long removed from the game. Very knowledgeable, very good, very talented. And then you got Kevin Youkilis, one of the best hitters in the game, one of the best guys to ever take ball 4. Never swung at a bad pitch. So good, so talented. He was our modern day Tony Gwynn, if you will. I know that's a stretch, but he's the closest thing I can find coming to it. And not only that, but he's a fun guy, and he connects with the younger guys. And Will Venable, talented, knows his stuff at first base, really good coach, knows the connection. But here's the problem with all those guys. All of them are non-abrasive. All of them are very controllable. All of them are very nice, right? The word is always nice guys finish last, right? That kind of rings true, especially in sports. When you're friendly with the players, which Mark Loretta, David Ross, Kevin Youkilis, they're all still relatively young. They're in their 40s, but they're relatively young still. It's hard for a player to look at those guys, I think, and say, I'm going to listen to you, right? Joe Maddon feels like their father, easier to listen to. These guys, it's just like, hey, buddy. Thanks, pal. They can't do that, right? At some point, you have to determine, you have to dictate that you are the boss and they are your employees, right? I have to do that here sometimes. I have to make sure that everybody understands, like, hey, we're friends and everything, but, oh, by the way, I'm at the head. I don't like to do that a lot. I try to stay away from that as much as I can because I hate that feeling, right? It sucks. I hate it. But you got to do it. You got to be boss. You have to be able to be the manager. You have to be able to be the boss. You have to be able to step up and be the guy for the team. So, I mean, look, for any of these Cubs guys, I mean, David Ross, Mark Loretta, these guys know their stuff. But I just got to be honest. I don't know if I can fully trust within these guys to actually be the leaders that need to take on this team. Because there's a lot of roster changes that could come, right? And you have to, I mean, we're all kind of wondering, who's in, who's out. I mean, and, first off, you got to figure out what you're going to do with the bullpen. You got to figure out who's going to be your main starters, who's going to be back, how is everything going to fall into place. Who are you going to bring up through the minor league system? Because you got to get younger arms in there. You've got to find guys for the bullpen. You've got to start looking at guys that could potentially start filling in the spots for the outfield and the infield, because some of those guys are starting to get hurt. Some of those guys are starting to look older. You got to think maybe are you going to trade Schwarber? Are you going to hold on to Addison Russell? Who's going to get the big money? Do you want to give all the money to somebody? How are you going to dictate this out? It's going to be a tough call. Cubs have a long road ahead of them on the offseason. It's going to be interesting to watch. But I will say this lastly. I will finish it off with this. I said this before, and I will say it many times. Letting go of Joe Maddon is not going to solve the problem. It is not going to solve the Cubs' issues. Okay? It's not saying it's a player. It's not saying it's the entire team. But there are things that need to be fixed within the organization, both in front office and fielding-wise, on the field-wise, that need to happen. That need to change. See what happens with the Cubs down the road here. All right, let's move into this. We'll kick it off on this one, because obviously, we didn't get to really do our review from last week because unfortunately, we had some issues with some things going on for the show. So no show went on Wednesday, so we didn't get to do our review of Week 4 and all that stuff. But we're kicking it off here with the Bears and stuff because obviously Bears were able to beat Minnesota 16-6. It was a pretty good victory. I mean, we saw a really good game come from the defense, certainly. Defense, got to give it to them. They did a really good job putting pressure on Kirk Cousins. They really got to that guy, really made sure that he felt uncomfortable, right? Chase Daniel came in for a hurt Mitch Trubisky. Played pretty decent, right? Threw the only touchdown in this game. So that was strong. That was good of him. But here's a big part of the problem that I had with this game that I was watching. There was so much that was coming from this game that was off the field stuff, right? First off, the Roquan Smith stuff, right? What was going on with him? He's out of the game because of something going on, non-injury related, personal issue kind of stuff. And a lot of people were thinking, oh, it's mental health issues. And it could have been. My worry is that they said he didn't seem like himself at the facility. He seemed like he was off. He got very kind of snippy with some people. He was seeming very aggressive. When I hear that kind of stuff, my first instinct and first thought goes to, oh, no, do not tell me this is the early onsets of like CTE. I don't want to have to hear that. If that is the case, that scares me. That scares me to pieces. It really does. But he says he's going to be playing tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. But this whole Vikings-Bears game, it didn't feel like the Bears won this game. I mean, technically they did, yes. But the truth is that Minnesota's just imploded. They lost this game because the team is falling apart. Right? This roster is just no longer what it used to be. Kirk Cousins is not playing like the quarterback he was. And this is something I've been on for a while. A couple years back, we were on this show, and people were telling me, he's a top 10 quarterback. I said, yes, he's a top 10 quarterback, but by default. It's by default because there was not a lot of options to go with as a top 10 quarterback. He was the best we could find because he would throw for 4,000 yards. He would have like 30 touchdowns or whatever. And, both his receivers would have like 1,000 yards. And sure, it looked great. It looked awesome. But does it really warrant him being a top 10 quarterback? Well, yeah, because we have nothing else to go to. Don't get me wrong. When they drafted him, I did believe that he would be the better quarterback over Robert Griffin III. At some point, he would get the start. Then all of a sudden, RG3 goes down with the injury. Kirk Cousins steps in. He plays better. He plays well. And before you know it, it's Kirk Cousins to the rescue. He's the quarterback of the Washington Redskins. And then all of a sudden, he goes to the playoffs, and he just bombs. And then all we have received from the Redskins is him throwing the ball, making a couple of good plays here and there, and then the defense not really playing up to its par, and then the offense sort of dipping off at the end of the season. And then the Vikings looked at him and said, well, he keeps ranking in the top 10 of quarterbacks. Screw it. Let's just give him $90 million and call it a day. He's our quarterback. Right? Because Case Keenum, I mean, what's he, right? He's just the quarterback that stepped in and took you to the NFC Championship game. Right? He's not good enough. We'll let Denver take him, right? And we'll take Kirk Cousins. And then after Denver, he can go to Washington, and he can kind of have a pretty good start there. And now, obviously, things are screwy in Washington, but he's playing better than Kurt. He's playing better than Kirk Cousins, and he would have cost you less money. He would have only been like $15 million a year. You could have saved another $15 million. It boggles my mind, right? And then you've got Adam Thielen calling out Kirk Cousins, not personally, but calling him out. And then you got Kirk Cousins going on his podcast show, apologizing to Adam Thielen, saying, Adam, I'm sorry. I should have thrown you the ball more. Cheese and crackers. I didn't know you were so upset about this. And you're one of the best in the game. And as soon as he said that, all of a sudden now Stephon Diggs is like, oh, what? So I'm not the best in the game? Oh, so Adam's better than me. Okay, no, cool. No, you know what? I'm taking Wednesday off. No. I'll see you Sunday. No, I'll be there. I just need a day off. This is a nightmare. I would be so mad if I was a Minnesota fan. I mean, they really have one of the best. If you look at that roster, offensively, defensively, they're pretty solid. They may have one of the best rosters in the NFL. From starter to depth, in the third string, second string, they have guys that can make plays. But it feels like everything's out of sync. Quarterback's not playing well, right? Getting called out by his wide receiver, then says to his wide receiver, I'm sorry, but you're the best. And then his other wide receiver says, oh, so why is he the best? Why am I not the best? And then it's like Kirk Cousins probably was like, no, baby, you're good too. Like I love you both. Right? This is such a mess. This team should be like 4-0. This team should have been winning the division for the last couple years. And instead, it's like Kirk Cousins is just like in this terrible slump. And he just can't get out of it. The Vikings are just in a terrible place. I don't think they're getting out of this one. I don't know if they're keeping Kurt around. Dalvin Cook looks great, but Bears defense shut him down. So, okay, Dalvin Cook can be stopped. And honestly, in my mind, it's only a matter of time before he gets hurt again, right? He's been so injury prone. I wish I could say I was glad the Bears won the game, but it doesn't feel like they won the game because Minnesota is a complete nightmare. Now, Chicago's got problems of its own too, right? Chicago's got the issue of saying, okay, what's going on? Because I got a thing with Mitch Trubisky, right? And this is where I ask a big question when it comes to this game. And that question is, basically, can this team win without Mitch Trubisky? That's a question that I hold strong to this. Can the Bears really? Because I saw an article from the Sun-Times, and I saw one in the Trib that was kind of saying, maybe we can do this without Trubisky, right? Because remember this, last time we took a quarterback in the top 5, it was Rex Grossman. Great arm from Florida, was supposed to be a life-changing quarterback for the Bears, right? Finally give him a passing offense. Almost threw as many interceptions as he did touchdowns when we went to the Super Bowl in 2006, right? And how did we win those games? Defense shut everybody down. We had an established run game, and we had a great special teams that put points on the board. So we could be looking at something of a similar quality. I'm not saying that Trubisky is Rex Grossman. I think he's better. I think he's better than Rex Grossman, okay? But it does not look it's not boding well for me right now, right? It's not boding well. I mean, this season has not been good for him. He's fourth from the bottom when it comes to total QBR. He's just not played well. He's just not played well. I need to see more from him. I need to see this quarterback actually evolve and transform into something that represents what the number 2 overall pick actually meant. I don't need Grossman. I need something more than that. It's going to be a wonder to see what happens on this. So, in my opinion, honestly, when it comes down to what do we do with Trubisky, because I've had this one for a while, right? Because obviously when his contract comes up, we're going to have this option of a 5th-year option. What do you do with it? Do you pick it up? Do you not? There's a lot of arguments going on in that fashion. We're only in year 3 with this guy, year 2 with him and Nagy. I give him one more year to show me what he can do, and then I will say this, whether he does well or he doesn't do well, okay? Whether he does well or does not do well, I would say pick up the 5th-year option. But if he does not do well, if by the end of this season and then after the end of next season, he does not show more than what we have already seen, which is sort of just simplistic quarterback play, then I say pick up the 5th-year option and start looking for a new QB. You don't have to find him in the first round, but you do need to start looking for another quarterback at that point. Pick up the 5th-year option, see what he does, see if he can keep some stability, but by that point, start looking for a new QB. Start looking for the next guy up. I know it's a little early to start saying that stuff. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Andrew, you're just giving up already and stuff. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it, okay? It's just an opinion. If he is not good enough after this year and the next year, still pick up the 5th-year option, but begin the search for the new quarterback. Begin the search for the next guy. Unfortunately, he is just showing that where Mahomes looks like he can go through the roof. Watson looks like he's steadily climbing, right? Trubisky is kind of right now like, right here. Right? I think he's a leader on the team. I think the team trusts him. But I think the team is also starting to get a little upset with the way that he plays because, again, the bad tendencies from high school and college are still being shown in the pros. I know the back foot thing drives a lot of people crazy. He keeps doing it, so I'm going to keep complaining about it. He's not reading the safeties. He's not looking at the linebackers. He's just scrambling outside the pocket way too much. Stay in the pocket. Step up. Throw. Step into your throw. Deliver the ball on time. Nagy, keep the play calling simple. Give him easy, simple stuff. But don't elude him from throwing the ball down the field deep. We've got to see if there's no cap on this guy. We've got to see that he can try and at least – I'm not asking him to keep up with the Joneses in Mahomes and Watson. I'm just asking him to at least take it from here, and let's try and get it to about like here, right? Because like about here – this is no scale, obviously. But like about here is where I would say, okay, we're contending for the NFC Championship. We're winning that game, and then we're going to a Super Bowl, or a couple of them, hopefully, if everything can kind of stay intact. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting down the line. So away from all that, obviously, you've got Bears and Raiders. They're playing in London, right? They're going to be kicking this thing off. I don't know what to think on this game right now. Obviously, Bears have kind of the favorite in this. They got 5.5-point favorite on this game right now. Raiders haven't looked too bad. Josh Jacobs looks like I think he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year if he keeps going the way he does. I know a lot of people will probably say no Gardner Minshew, and yeah, that's true too. I think he could also win it. But I think Josh Jacobs right now is rolling in a way that as a running back, he has far surpassed anything that Darren McFadden ever could, which, if you remember, that was actually a thing that the Raiders tried. Next to Adrian Peterson, my butt. But honestly, the Raiders haven't looked terrible. They're not good per se, but they're average. They get some decent quarterback play. They got some players that can make some plays. Like, I don't know what happened with Darren Waller, but that guy's emerged as a tremendous tight end. And if the Raiders don't hold on to him, somebody's going to get him, and somebody's going to take full advantage of that guy. That guy should be hitting the end zone like 2 times a game. That's how good I think he is. And he's big, he's strong, he's powerful, and he's fast. I think this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a battle. I would not look past the Raiders, though. Don't look past them. I know they're dysfunctional. I know John Gruden's a mess. He's fun to watch. He's fun to listen to. But the Raiders could present a problem for the Bears. Could be an issue. If I had to go with this, I do think the Bears can win this game, though. But I would think it's probably closer to like a 3-point difference on this game. I give it a 3-point difference on this game, right? Eddie Pinheiro kicks the game-winning field goal, something like that, or kicks the field goal to kind of give the Bears the lead, which for Pinheiro actually will look like a good thing because if you remember, where did he come from? Who did we get him from? Raiders. Khalil Mack has like 3 sacks. Pinheiro's the hero of the game. Who looks like the idiot? Mike Mayock and John Gruden. Who looks like the hero? Ryan Pace. And if we can shut down Josh Jacobs, which that's what our draft pick was, it was Josh Jacobs. That would have been our draft pick. If we can shut him down, it's going to suck for me fantasy-wise, but if we can do that, that's another hit on the Raiders. And that makes the Raiders look even dumber. I hope the Bears can win it for that sake. Also, I just want to see John Gruden just lose his mind when Khalil Mack just puts a hurting on Derek Carr. I just want to see that go down. I think that'd be fun. It's going to be a fun game, going to be interesting. Can't wait to see it. At least it's at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's not like one of those morning games. Although that would have been fun to be able to sit in my pajamas on the couch, chowing down on my cereal, watching the game. Would have been a lot of fun with a Corona in my hand. Drink responsibly. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just a little nice PSA there at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously NFL Week 5, we are coming into it. Like I said, we couldn't do a Week 4 review, so we'll give you the Week 5 rundown. So I hope you guys are ready for that one. And, of course, too, we're going to be talking into some college sports and how these guys can possibly start making some money. We'll be hitting all that and more here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Man, I'm so hungry. I need somewhere to eat fast. I have no idea where to go.
Psst. Hola, me llamo El Taco de Taco. You know where to go for the amazing taste that'll have you craving more? Taco Bell.
All right, can I get 20 tacos, please?
You got it.
Thanks, Taco.
De nada.
Good. That's it. Eat the tacos.
Taco Bell. Live más.
Ah, Hey, watch your mouth. Wine. I'll just put a quarter in the swear jar. Once it's filled, we get a Coors party after work.
I've been drinking Coors since my college days. The cold draft taste is second to none.
Yeah, worth the recorder, am I right?
You know it, mother.
Hey, you get those reports done?
Yeah. No.
You, sir.
Attention, employees.
The staff meeting, scheduled for this evening, will now be held tomorrow early as
That is all. Dudes, we're only 75 cents short. Oh. Shh. Where's the boss?
Hey, sir. Go yourself.
You're fired!
And welcome back, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is still Andrew Valentin, and I'm still bringing you all the best here in sports from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois, for our show. By the way, Jake, that looked freaking awesome. That was so good. I love that. That my producer, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best in the game. You're looking for a guy to hire, 100% look to that man. Definitely. Contact us. We will give you his information. By far, best stuff I've ever seen. That was awesome. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So as we did talk beforehand, we got into the Chicago stuff, talked about the Cubs managing situation, Joe Maddon, all that good stuff, talked about the Bears, what they did against the Vikings, what they might do against the Raiders. Hopefully, they'll be able to pull out a victory. So now we jump into the good stuff, ladies and gents. And as some of you might have been hearing, and as we've all kind of been talking about throughout time, when it comes to college athletes, of course, everybody wants to be paid, right? We all want to make some kind of money in college. We all want to do that, right? Well, it seems like this may actually happen because as of this past week, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has officially signed Senate Bill 206, which makes it illegal, starting in 2023, for the NCAA to prevent any in-state athlete from profiting off their name, image, and likeness. This is the Fair Pay for Play Act, for those of you that don't know. Okay? Now, obviously, for those of you that don't know, what is the Fair Pay for Play Act? Okay, so let's hit this. What is this exactly? So basically, what the Fair Pay for Play Act is, for those that don't know, is that this is a piece of legislation that is now being presented throughout states all over the country in order for all college athletes in all sports to be able to use their name and their likeness to the ability of getting endorsements, primarily endorsements, in order to make some sort of sufficient amount of income. Because for those that don't know, the NCAA's case versus Ed O'Bannon, the former UCLA star basketball player who sued for the NCAA basketball 09 game or 010 NCAA basketball 10 game that used his likeness and was given the remark that he didn't make a single dime off of it, decided to sue the NCAA for using his likeness to make money without his rights or anything like that. So once that had come through from a judgment, obviously players got their names, likeness, and image back from when you signed that contract. You gave up all right of that, right? So now the athlete has their name, their image, their likeness. They can do whatever they want with it, but it's still illegal from the NCAA in their terms, in their situations, in their orders to say, oh, but you can't make money when you're a college athlete. You can't profit while being a college athlete. Well, now this bill in California in 2023, when it becomes active June 1st, will allow athletes to finally be able to utilize all the things that they were never allowed to do in the past, and will allow athletes at that time to be able to use their image, name, and likeness. I keep saying that to reiterate that stuff, to be able to gain profit from endorsements. So think of it this way, right? Zion Williamson he's the most popular name in college sports, right? Last year to this year, he's the biggest name anybody was talking about as a college athlete, okay? Most coveted basketball player since LeBron James. One of the most coveted college athletes we've ever seen in the history of college sports, okay? Now imagine that he could take his image, his likeness, he could take all that stuff, and he could now, as a college athlete at the age of 18, go find an endorsement. I mean, can you imagine as an 18-year-old in college, you're already getting sponsored by Nike? Whoa. You've already got your multi-million-dollar contract with Nike in place? That's crazy. That's insane. I mean, geez. Makes my head sweat just thinking about it. I mean, can you imagine an athlete? Can you see a guy like Tua Tagovailoa going out and getting a deal to go do some commercials for like Dick's Sporting Goods or Walmart or something like that, right? Like getting a big brand commercial. Like, no, coach, you see, I have to leave practice early. I have to go shoot a commercial for Lincoln. How crazy would that be? This is what we're into, right? And this doesn't just extend to the major sports, right? This benefits certainly for the football athletes because football makes a lot of money. Basketball makes a lot of money. But this helps in a lot of major ways because now a baseball player, a softball player, a swimmer, all of these women, all of these men in all of these sports can now go and take their names and likeness and say, I want to be like on a Wheaties box. I want to do a commercial with Fruit by the Foot or, Frosted Flakes or something like that, right? Like, let's take, what's her name? Katie Ledecky, I believe it is. I believe that is the swimmer's name that goes to Stanford. Katie Ledecky, yes. She's 22 right now. She goes to Stanford University. But, if you don't know, she's won multiple gold medals. She's won multiple gold medals, okay? In the Pan Pacific Games, she's won 5, okay? In the World Champion, she won at 2015 World Championships, she won 5. And, she won an Olympic gold medal too. That's pretty good, right? But she can't make money off her name, right? She can go win gold medals, but she can't. No likeness. Imagine if she was able to go out and get a sponsorship. You think Nike or Adidas wouldn't jump on that? You're talking about a woman who's won 34 medals in her life, 28 gold medals. That's crazy. But she can't profit from her name because she's still a student, still a student athlete. This is great for college. I love this. I love the fact that there are college athletes now that can go and make money. Now, obviously, the NCAA is not very happy with this, right? When this whole thing came to fruition, NCAA has really kind of jumped on this and said, whoa, we got to slow this down. Let's take a look at this thing. And they're really trying to look and see, like, okay, how can we destroy this thing? They're going to pick it apart piece by piece. They've got a number of athletic directors. They've got a number of coaches, a number of high-ranking NCAA reps, including Emmerich himself, the president of the NCAA, who is speaking out against the act. You've got multiple, commissioners from the conferences in college football and college basketball speaking out against this stuff. The NCAA does not like this at all because they think it's going to destroy sports in general. And look, they have some legitimate concern about it, right? Because it's going to do something to recruiting, because who wants to go to Lincoln, Nebraska when you can make more money on endorsements in Los Angeles, California or New York, right? Why go to, Athens, Georgia when I can go to Syracuse and I can be right in the heart of it, right? I mean, this changes everything. Not completely, but it does in some regard potentially change how players dictate where they're going to go to school and maybe change the landscape of how sports look in general. And that's not always a bad thing, though. Change is good, right? I spoke out against Tim Tebow because he was like, I'm not for this at all. This is not cool. This is not okay. I know I'm giving him a whiny, nasally voice. I know that's not how he talks. Well, he kind of does. But, first off, Tim Tebow, you work for the enemy. You work for the SEC network. You're an analyst there. Not going to listen to what you say because obviously they're not going to put a guy on there that's like, yeah, I'm all for the pay for play act. And I don't believe for a word he says of like, I didn't really think about where all that money was going for people that were buying my jersey. Baloney, you didn't. Your jersey was at the top of the list all over the place. It was right there with like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, all these guys, right? When you were at Florida, and you didn't once, not once, you didn't think about, where's all the money going? How come I don't get that money? Bull. I'm calling your bluff. You thought about it. Every athlete thinks about that. I'm pretty sure Garrett Wolf and Michael Turner probably thought about that at NIU because I'll tell you what, I saw a lot of number ones and 25s and fives at Northern Illinois. I'm pretty sure they probably thought about that. Like, that's my number. They've got my number, but I'm not making any money off of that. Why? Because it doesn't have your name on it. I don't know. I think this is going to be good for the college. I think this is good for college. Because remember this is not the colleges paying the athletes. This is the athlete going out, getting endorsements, and getting the money themselves. So now it is on the athlete to use their image, to use their ability to get their names, to get what they want. Smart move. Smart move. I like it. I like it a lot. Because why is it the regular college student can go make money doing what they need to do, but why can't the college athlete do it? I'm just saying I think it's going to be beneficial. But in the overall sense, there's a big feeling of, so is this going to destroy the NCAA? Is this going to finally put an end to the NCAA? I don't think it's going to put an end to it. But I think it will transform it. The NCAA will have to change and transform, which the NCAA does not like to do a lot of times. And it does it very slowly at a very slow pace. But it should be starting the process of looking to see how they can change things. Don't try and block the students out. Try to embrace this and see how you can fit to make this work for everybody. It can work. It can happen. Just just listen. Listen, read it, and try to be open-minded about it. That's the problem here, too. You got a lot of old white guys. Have to say that because that's a part of this thing, who are looking at the system and saying there's nothing wrong with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it is broke. It has been broken for years, hundreds of years, and it's only now that we're starting to make some actual changes to it. This is going to be immensely beneficial towards college athletes, and it's going to be immensely beneficial for those. Because imagine if you're that kid that's not going to go pro. Now you can make some money off your name. At least if you have a name in Georgia, let's say you're in Athens, Georgia. You're playing for the University of Georgia, but you're not going to maybe be a top NFL draft pick. But at least you can get some commercials, maybe do some things, some sponsoring for some companies, make a couple $100, maybe make a couple $1,000, right? In the time that you're there, at University of Georgia, you graduate or you leave, try and get drafted, doesn't work, but now you got a little bit extra money. Something to consider. Something to consider here. And what's great is that this law is now being pushed as a federal law potentially. And if it goes into a federal law, NCAA is going to have no other choice than to just make a change. You have to make the shift then. God hoping the NCAA will actually be willing to change and will not just simply try and fight this to the bitter tooth and nail. Embrace it. Love it. Understand that we're trying to do this to help everybody be better. We're not trying to all be the enemy here. Just saying. All right, so good luck with the college athletes. We'll see what happens there. Now we're going to finish this one out with our fun as always. It's the Week 5, Sunday and Monday in preview. I know I'm sucking at this right now. I'm sorry. I wish we had an effect for that. It would be better. But it is what it is. I'm not a sound personalist, okay? But as we do every week, we always go over some of the games. I know we couldn't do a Week 4 review, so I'll kind of do a little bit of a review as we talk about these. First off, obviously, we'll kick this one off with a Thursday. I'll say right now, that was a fun game. That was a great game. And Russell Wilson, best quarterback in the NFL right now. Hands down, best quarterback in the NFL right now. Nobody's touching him. Jared Goff played well. I'll give him that. He played well. He did not play bad. He played well. But Russell Wilson played better. 17 for 23. He only 268 yards. He threw for 4 touchdowns. That man put up points. That man gave me points. And then Chris Carson, 118 yards running on the ground. That guy's running all over the place. I wish he'd get in the end zone a little bit more. That guy is killing it. Remember, this is a 7th-round pick that played part-time at Oklahoma State, starting over Rashad Penny, a first-round pick. Impressive. And Will Dissly, that guy's – is it fair to say he's maybe one of the top tight ends? Jake says yes. I think it's fair to say. He runs really good routes, amazing hands, gets yards after the catch. He is an up-and-coming guy. He looks really good. Tyler Lockett, by the way, that catch by Lockett, Michael Jackson would be proud of you. Oh, baby. Woo! Talk about an amazing catch at the corner, man. This Seahawks team is dangerous. They're good. I know the missed field goal and all that stuff. This Seahawks team is on fire. Russell Wilson, if he's not the early leader right now for MVP, I'm sad. I'm sad. He's not throwing an interception yet. It's him, Mahomes, and Mariota, surprisingly, that haven't thrown a pick yet in a game. If he is not the top quarterback, or at least in the conversation of top 2, top 3 in the league right now, there's a problem. 5'11", ladies and gentlemen. 5'10", 5'11", whatever he is. Never look past it. It's not the size that counts. It's how you play the game. Russell Wilson, Seattle Seahawks, Jake Bradley back there, I know he's happier than ever. I'm proud to say I'm liking the Seahawks a lot. 4-1, going strong. Rams, I don't know what you're doing with Todd Gurley, man, but you got to get it going. Look, either commit to the guy or don't. That's all I'm going to say for the Rams. Commit to your running back or don't. But you got to fix some things up, man. You really got to fix some things up. Oh, and your tight end should not be your leading receiver, I'm just saying. It works for the Seahawks. But you're the Rams. You got 3 weapons. Gerald Everett shouldn't be leading you in reception. All right, so here we go. We're starting it off. Kick it off with Arizona Cardinals at the Bengals. Now, this is a pretty good matchup. I like this one. I do think that the Bengals have the favorite on this. They've got a 3-point favorite right now over the Cardinals. Obviously, the Cardinals 0-3-1 doesn't look too good. I think the Cardinals. I think they could pull out their first win here, but I also think the Bengals. This is going to be a big matchup. This is going to be hard. I think the 3 points is right where I'm going to put it at. I would say, though, I think the Bengals can pull this one out because I think Cliff Kingsbury's still trying to figure out this offense, but Kyler Murray is looking like a good quarterback. He just needs to kind of calm it down a little bit. He needs to just breathe, relax, settle in, and just let the game flow for you. Let the game flow. But I like the Bengals in this. I think the Bengals can win at 3 points is, I think, right where it's going to be at. I think Andy Dalton's going to be able to toss in a couple touchdowns, and if he can get some to Tyler Boyd, that would really help me in fantasy. But, hey, you know what? I know we bash on the Bengals a lot. Yes, they are a mess. But I think they can still find a way to be able to pull out their first victory at least. So I give it to the Bengals, and I say 3 points right there, right where they're at. All right, next, Buffalo Bills at Tennessee Titans. Bills against the Patriots really showed something there. I was really impressed by what we saw there for the Buffalo Bills, 3-1. That was a close game. That was a close game against the New England Patriots, 16-10. They almost had that game, if not for all the interceptions that Josh Allen threw. That that just didn't look good at all. Tennessee right now is the favorite because obviously Josh Allen is out because of the concussion protocol. He took a pretty bad hit there, which, again, I will say this, not a bad hit. That's just football. That's just what happens. That's just a football hit. Now, we didn't talk about this. Devontae's Burfict hit, okay, he should be out of the league. No call for that. I mean, it was already – it wouldn't have been as bad if he wouldn't have stood up and then started cheering and chanting and if, oh, by the way, he hasn't done this multiple times already. But that wasn't that bad of a hit. But Buffalo right now, 3-1. This defense, I think, can actually hold it out. I think they can actually pull out. I think Tennessee having the 2.5-point favorite, I think Buffalo can win this game. I'm not saying that, Matt Barkley is the guy. He wasn't, certainly for us. But I think this is the first time that you're going to see Marcus Mariota get tested. I think the Bills are going to be able to finally show that he does make mistakes. I think he's going to throw 3 interceptions against them. He's going to get sacked. He's going to find some injuries. I mean, I think Derrick Henry is going to have a game. I think he can definitely go for a good 100 yards or so. But I think the Bills can pull out a victory here, so I'm going with the Bills for an upset here on the Tennessee Titans. And I'm going to say touchdown difference. I think touchdown difference because I think the Bills' defense is legit. I think they are legit. I think we can say that they are, in fact, legit. So I got the Bills pulling an upset over the Titans. All right. Next, Tampa Bay Bucks against the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Tampa Bay, who would have thought Jameis Winston has 9 touchdowns? What? Who saw that coming? Bruce Arians did, I think. Look, Bruce is really good when it comes to the young quarterbacks. He certainly knows how to be able to help these guys get better. I think this is just a false year. I don't believe Jameis Winston's actually going to be better after this. I think he is who he is, and that's all he's ever going to be. I think he's a decent backup, marginal starter. He's kind of like the Nick Foles, if you will, for Tampa, right? He's Nick Foles. He looks good in Tampa, probably only really good in relief, okay? He's not winning you any Super Bowls. But Saints have been playing very well. The defense has stepped up big time for them. Alvin Kamara has done a great job at moving the football. But I do think that this may be the game that the Saints actually do lose, believe it or not. I think just because of the fact that they're limited in the fact that they don't have their star quarterback, Tampa's defense is starting to actually kick up a little bit. I think because of the fact there's no Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater is not 100% accurate. He's not 100% the kind of quarterback that the Saints need. So I'm going to say the Bucs. I'm going to say I think the Bucs pull out the upset here. You know, I would say it's a 3-point difference, but for the Bucs. I give it a +3 to the Tampa Bay Bucs, not the -3 for the Saints. So I'm going with Tampa Bay on that. All right, Minnesota versus New York Giants. Is it fair to say that the New York Giants may actually upset the Minnesota Vikings? 5.5-point favorites are not really big. It's not big. It's minuscule at best. I think this might be the week for upsets. I'm saying the Giants could actually pull this off. Look, I know Daniel Jones did not look his greatest last week, but he looks sufficient enough that he might be able to actually pull this thing off. Like, Kirk Cousins only has 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Daniel Jones only has 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And that comes in 2 games. Cousins in 4 games. It's not really good, is it? Nope. This is a quarterback that was making a Pro Bowl versus a quarterback that's making his 3rd start in his career. And I trust Daniel Jones more than I trust Kirk Cousins. That is a problem. Now, don't get me wrong. Minnesota's defense is good. They might take advantage of the young QB. This could be Minnesota taking it by 14 points. But I'm giving it to the Giants. I think the Giants can pull this off, and I think they can win by 2 touchdowns. I really do. I'm going to say Giants by 2 touchdowns. I think we will see an emergence come from Daniel Jones. And not just him, but don't be shocked if you see Wayne Gallman stepping up too, because we give Gallman a lot of stuff. He played really well last week. Played really well last week, got to say. All right. Next are the New York Jets at the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, oh man, this is gonna be an ugly one, I gotta say. Philly right now is favored by 14 points, 2 touchdown favorites for Philadelphia Eagles. I think that's right on the money. Look, Philadelphia right now, they don't look perfect, but they do look like they're unstoppable. Well, so let me scratch that. They don't look unstoppable. They're not perfect. But they do look like they could still really contend strongly within the NFC. Carson Wentz, I think, is a superhero. I think he is Superman. He seems to be the unstoppable. Great arm, great accuracy. He's starting to pick up the pace in his play. The Jets, no Sam Darnold. You're going to have to roll with your quarterbacks the way they are now. You're going to have to hope that Le'Veon Bell can really step up his game a lot more. Jordan Howard's look really good for the Eagles. I think the Eagles are favored by 14 points, and I'm going to keep it there. I say the Eagles win this one by the 2-touchdown mark, definitely. Next, Baltimore Ravens versus Pittsburgh Steelers. This is being put up as a key matchup because obviously Pittsburgh finally got its first win. It was against Cincinnati. Mason Rudolph, I got to say, looked average. I think our guy, Eric Willowhite, I will quote him if I can. He said Mason Trubisky, and he's not wrong. If you watch the way Mason Rudolph played, he played a lot like Mitch Trubisky, right? Your leading receiver was your running back, James Conner, right? And then your backup running back was like your 3rd leading receiver. Yards after the catch, short throws within the 10-yard range. You can't do that. Let your quarterback sling it. This is a cute quarterback that threw 1,500 passes in college. He threw the ball downfield. He's got a connection with James Washington. He's been practicing with Juju Smith-Schuster. He knows Vance McDonald. And all you do is say, throw to the running back and throw to the slot receiver. That's it? Oh, no. Steelers are done then if that's the case. Baltimore's got a 3.5-point favorite. I think Lamar Jackson's going to kill these guys. I think him, Mark Ingram, and Marquise Brown are all going to step up. Each have big-time playmaking ability in this game. They have big-time plays made in this game. I think the Ravens are going to win this one. I would say by 17 points. I'm giving them a strong win over this. But I'd also be cautious because Lamar Jackson starts running around a lot. That's where he can get hurt. Because if T.J. Watt or Bud Dupree catch him running, that's going to be ugly. That's going to be nasty. But I got the Ravens. I'm going to say 17 points. I know that's a long stretch, but I'm giving it to the Ravens. Next. Patriots at Washington Redskins. Is it fair to say that Washington at this point, I mean, Jay Gruden, first off, Jay Gruden got caught with a little bit of something there. If you haven't seen, there's a video that came up of Jay Gruden smoking some something and talking to a nice little young lady. I thought he was married, if I'm correct on that. But it seems like Washington could be dead in the water at this point. He hasn't named a starting quarterback. He threw Dwayne Haskins out there. Dwayne Haskins made some plays, but he threw 3 interceptions, and I think that really kind of has discouraged him a little bit. At the press conference, it seemed like he was discouraged, but he also seems like he says he's going to bounce back. So I hope the best for that kid. But Jay Gruden at this point, he's going to be down. He's going to be down and out. He's down and out already in Washington as it is. I'm surprised they haven't fired him yet. I'm really surprised. Patriots have a 16-point favorite. I think Tom Brady is going to have a field day with this one. And it's a shame because Washington, Terry McLaurin has really stepped up for them big time as a wide receiver. I just don't understand why they can't do more with it. But I got Patriots, 16 points. I think that's being favorable. I'm going to say 20. I say favorites by 20. Next, we've got Jacksonville Jaguars at Carolina Panthers. Gardner Minshew II is looking like he could actually be the real deal. He doesn't seem like he has the strongest arm in the world. He still looks like he's trying to understand some of the concept of the play out there. But even when he's getting hit, he's shedding off tackles and keeping his eyes down the field. Carolina has a 3.5-point favorite on this thing, and I think largely because of Christian McCaffrey being the top running back right now. He is the ultimate weapon in the NFL. Right? If Saquon Barkley was not out right now, I think him and McCaffrey would be biting for the right to be called the next great running backs. I think they're both on that level. But even with McCaffrey playing well in this game, which I think he will, but I think he'll also find himself kind of struggling now and then because Jacksonville does not play very well with running backs. I do think that Jacksonville can pull out the upset. And I'm saying I think it's a 6-point difference, a 6-point upset for Jacksonville. I think Gardner Minshew is going to have a nice three-touchdown day because Panthers' defense I really think is not that strong. I think they're fading, and they're fading fast. So I got Jacksonville upsetting by 6 points. Then we've got Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons, they're going to visit the Houston Texans. Houston's lucky that they still have a quarterback at this point. I mean, you got to protect. You've got to protect. You have got to protect Deshaun Watson. Too much pressure. Too much is coming at him. You've got to stop the rush. Now, luckily, Atlanta's defense not really putting on a great pass rush like they have in the past. So Atlanta does have a possibility. So Houston has a possibility of really doing something great here, right? Atlanta, meanwhile, is going to find the pressure coming, okay? Matt Ryan's 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in the hole right now. I think he's got almost as many touchdowns as interceptions at this point. It has not been a good year. No, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, Still playing well for the most part, but these interceptions are coming like crazy. Got to shut it down. I think that Houston having the 4-point favorite, I think that's fair to say. I say it's more like a 3-point, but I'm going to give it to Houston. I think Houston comes out of this with a victory. Next, we've got the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, they're going to be at the San Diego Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers. I don't really know what to say here when it comes to the Denver Broncos, honestly. I mean, look, I think Vic Fangio's a really good coach, but it just doesn't seem like the Broncos are falling behind him. The Chargers have a 6-point favorite in this game, or 5.5-point favorite now as it's showing here. But they've got a favorite in this game right now to win this. It just feels like the Chargers, they're not complete, but they're getting Melvin Gordon back. But they've already said that Austin Eckler's probably going to play a good majority of the game, which is good for me because I have him. But Phillip Rivers looks like he's still on his greatness. He's still throwing the ball very well. Keenan Allen has been far and superior as a wide receiver. He's really stepped up big time for the Chargers, and he's still continuing to grow. And for the Broncos, it just feels like, hey, you play well, but then they come to a stalemate. Now you lose Bradley Chubb. That's an issue now too. So I'm going to say Chargers. I'm not saying 6 points or 5.5 points. I'm going farther than that. I'm saying 13-point difference for the Chargers. I think they really blow that one out of the water. So I got Chargers on that one. Next, it's Green Bay. Green Bay Packers versus the Dallas Cowboys. This is one of the big matchups of the week, too. These are 3-1 versus 3-1. This is the leaders of the division. Packers offense looks like it might start getting itself together. They could be a really good team, right? Defensively, they've had some good moments. Last week, they did not have any good moments. Okay? This week, I expect the defense to be there and make some plays. I expect the offense to be able to kind of show up a little bit more than what we've seen. Dak Prescott right now, I think, looks like the quarterback he's supposed to be. He's making all the right plays. He's making all the right throws. There's nobody, I think, that can really – I don't think Green Bay has somebody that can shut down Amari Cooper fully. I think they have guys that can play well on him with Darryl Savage and all those guys. But I think Amari Cooper is going to find himself getting open a lot. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to break for a couple of big runs. And I think you'll see Dak Prescott have another really good game and shut down the Packers. Right now, Dallas has a 3.5-point favorite. I'm going to boost that one up to 6 because I think the Dallas Cowboys can really take advantage more so of the Packers. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a really good game. All right? But I'm going with the Cowboys on this one. And so finally, for ending on Sunday, we've got the Colts versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Chiefs are 11-point favorites. Patrick Mahomes, even against the Lions, I mean, he didn't throw a touchdown. But let's be real about this. He orchestrated that entire drive. That team's on a – when I saw Travis Kelce make that catch and then toss it to LaShawn McCoy, Chiefs are on a different level. They are here when everybody else is here, right? And the Patriots are like right underneath them. Okay, I'll put the Patriots right there. But like the Kansas City Chiefs are like on a different level at this point. I don't know if anything can stop them. Travis Kelce is running like a madman. Now the only thing that's hurting Kansas City right now is that their running game looks like it's still going to be a little bit discombobulated, right? Damian Williams, I think, is supposed to be back, but Darrell Williams has been playing well. LaShawn McCoy is now getting bumped to more of a second-string, third-string kind of running back situation, but he still might find some time playing every now and then. I like the Colts. I like Jacoby Brissett. I think Brissett's going to play well. I think he'll have a couple of touchdowns in there, maybe run one in even, because I know Chiefs' defense is not really up to par, so I expect the Colts to be able to put up some points, but I expect this to be a fun game, but I expect the Chiefs to be able to win this one, but I'm going to say by a touchdown. I think the Colts can keep it close because the Colts' defense is not bad either. They've got some good components, and I think they can make it work. And finally, for the last game, this is the Monday night matchup. It's Cleveland Browns versus San Francisco 49ers. Who would have thought? Cleveland Browns are 2-2. They finally played well in a game, right? Nick Chubb went insane and had a heck of a game and lit it up last week. That is the way Cleveland should be handling this one. Give the ball to Nick Chubb. Let Baker Mayfield make his throws every now and then. You don't have to center the offense around Odell Beckham Jr. just because you got him. You got him for all the wrong reasons, I think. You need to make sure that this team is complete as a whole. When you throw the ball to Jarvis Landry, when you throw the ball to Antonio Callaway, who he comes back this week, and you get the ball in the hands of Nick Chubb, you start making plays that way, you're going to find yourself winning. Don't just air it out to Odell Beckham Jr. because you have to. Get him the ball because he's open. Don't try and force it. When you force it, that's when you have problems. But honestly, the 49ers defense, because of the way that Baker Mayfield's been playing, I think he's going to throw some bad interceptions. I'm not saying that Garoppolo's going to play well. I'm not saying that the 49ers are going to be all the way complete. 49ers have 5-point favorite on this. I'm going to give them a touchdown favorite, 7-point favorite on this. But I'm saying that only because I think the 49ers are going to make mistakes too. I think the reason that they're winning a lot is because of really good coaching, and the defense is stepping up big time. Nick Bosa looks like the real deal, right? He's looking more and more like the real deal. DeForest Buckner's really stepping up his game. They've got some good players on that unit. I like the 49ers, but I like them for 7 points, not just for 5 or 4.5. Excuse me. But that's going to round it out, ladies and gentlemen, for this one. That's going to be week 4 preview for you guys. I hope you have enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. We were going to do a fan question, but I think we're going to save that one maybe for next Wednesday or next Saturday, something like that. You know, we'll start answering some more of these fan questions. We've got a few more that have kind of come in, so we'll give some answers to that. They're kind of on a more personal level, a few of them too. So, you know, maybe we'll save those for kind of like the another day or something like that. But I hope you guys have really enjoyed this one. This has been a lot of fun. It's been great. Guys, if you do want to check us out even more so, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at XBomb Sports. That's it, at XBomb Sports. See there on the screen, right down there below. See it? You guys see it? I'm pointing right to it. Like, it is actually there in front of me. Make sure to go check us out there. Go follow us there, guys. Guys, also make sure, too, to follow us on our Facebook page, too, at Team XBomb Sports on Facebook. You guys can see seasons 1 and 2 where we started, see the original cast and crew there, all that good stuff. And you guys can also see some of the new episodes we put up there. We're always kind of revamping some of the new things. We're trying to utilize more of the social media, not just reposting the shows all the time, trying to implicate more, trying to take more pictures, get more videos. It's hard because we don't have a lot of time to actually be able to. If we could do this every day, I'd love to be able to do that kind of stuff. But hopefully one day we can get to that point. We're working on it. It's little by little. But make sure to go follow us there on our Facebook page as well. Also, too, guys, Saturdays, there's this radio show, if you guys don't know, called Putting Up Points by our own producer back there, Jake Bradley, and our other teammate, of course, Tyler Prickett. They do a show, as I said, Putting Up Points, every Saturday from 12 to 2. And if you guys were wondering where it was at this week, they did it, but you just couldn't hear it because they were doing it all in sign language. But from 12 to 2, they do it on SportsTownChicago.com. Or if you guys want to see the sign language episode, it is on the Facebook live stream where you guys can see their beautiful faces as well. What? No, it's not. Give yourself a little credit. Yeah, so Jake disagrees with that entirely, but sure. But if you guys want to check out the live stream, obviously go to the Sportstown Chicago Facebook page. You guys can see it there. And remember this, it is free. It is not something you have to pay for. SportsTownChicago.com is a free radio listening app for you guys. If you want to hear some good sports talk, especially on the fantasy side of things, there are 2 guys that I know that I have never met that know more about fantasy than those 2 guys. So if you want your fantasy helps, those are the guys to definitely approach on. And also make sure, too, Jake's got his website. What's it again, Jake? Team Ski Fantasy. Check out teamskifantasy.com. That is Jake's website where him and his sister Andrea, they do great stuff. They write some great articles for you guys. They will definitely help you with your fantasy football all along the way. You guys do everything, right? All fantasies from Dynasty and all that stuff? Yeah. Yeah, they cover all fantasies. So whatever it is you're into, from daily to dynasty to all the good stuff in between, they're going to give you that help on it. So definitely go check that out. Want to make sure to pimp that out because I've been reading the articles. You guys are doing great stuff there, man. Definitely keep it up, man. Love it a lot. But yeah, make sure to go check that out. And of course, follow me on Twitter at @TheFluffyGuru, as you guys can see over here. Make sure to follow me on that Twitter at @TheFluffyGuru. You guys want to follow me on Instagram? I am also Boom Crew Captain. Because as we are the Boom Crew here at XBomb Sports, I am the captain of this ship, and I try to do my best to keep this thing from sinking as much as possible with all the holes and water seeping into it all the time. But you guys can follow me there as well, kind of see some of the pictures I post up all the time. I post memes, all that kind of stuff from the show, things like that. And also, too, of course, subscribe here to the YouTube channel at XBomb Productions. Like, comment, and subscribe on all the videos and stuff. Make sure to give us the love that we ever so desire and that we so desperately need at the same time, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. And obviously, before we round this out, I just want to say really quickly, last Monday, we hit the 2-year anniversary of this show. September 30th of 2017 was the first official XBomb Sports, sorry, I know I keep hitting the mic, was the first official episode of the XBomb Sports live show that we did on Facebook. And ever since then, we've been going as strong as possible. We've missed some days here and there. I know last Wednesday we missed, and, it sucks. But I just wanted to say to everybody that has helped us get to this point, I just wanted to be honest and say thank you all so much. And this doesn't just go for the current crew. The current crew absolutely. Tyler Prickett and Jake back there, Jake Bradley. Thank you guys so much for all the help and work that you guys have done. We could not have done this without you. You guys have been great. You guys have been fantastic. It's because of you guys that this thing has still been able to go strong. Thank you to, of course, Kevin and Kat for being able to help out when you guys have been able to. You guys have been a big part of this, too, when the transition came, that we were changing into a whole new mode and a whole new craft and, shifting into a new paradigm and things like that. So I thank you guys so much. Thank you to the original cast, the original crew, Evan Wiseman, Ilea Lakihan, Brett Anderson, Bob Illich, Anthony Raimondi, Jose Olivares. I'm blanking on some names. I apologize if I am. I am so sorry. But to everybody that was helping out with the original cast and crew for season 1, it couldn't have happened without you guys. It couldn't have happened without you guys. You kept it going strong. You guys came in so consistently, and I could never repay what you guys have done for us in the past, and I hope to be able to do that in some way, shape, or form in the future. And I hope that this can get big enough that at one point I can actually do that, because you guys deserve so much credit for what you did and putting up with my nonsense and certainly another person's nonsense too. Obviously, thank you to all the people here at IMS that gave this the possibility. Obviously our guy Jacob Hagelock as well for helping us design a lot of this stuff, the border, the intros, the logos, all that great stuff. I really appreciate everything that he's given us, and everybody at IMS in RUM for giving us this opportunity. Our guy Ryan Fahey for being able to provide us with this possibility of doing this. Scott Grenke for helping us with the studio and everything. Sarah Gettinger for giving us this support and everything. Everybody for supporting us. All the fans, all you guys out there supporting us, giving these questions, giving these comments, all this great stuff. We love it. All the friends and the family out there, all of our parents, my parents, Jake's parents, all the parents out there, Tom's parents, for helping us, supporting us when we've had to come in here Saturdays and Wednesdays and do this show, even when we didn't want to. But for you guys, thank you for supporting us, all the partners, all the girlfriends and the kids and everything for having our backs and stuff like that. Thank you guys so much. And, of course, I left him, I left these guys for last, but, of course, Brian Singleman, a guy who comes in every now and then and kind of helps us out with getting this stuff and kind of just raising our emotions up. And last but not least, of course, the guy who, Tom, I know you're not here, baby, but you're my brother. I love you so much, man. 2 years I've known your butt. In 2 years you've driven me crazy, but you've also given me some great times, man. And it's been a wild ride, and I'm glad that you could be my co-host. Not just my co-host, not just my friend, but you're like brother to me, man. And I hope you know that. And I could not be more proud of what you're doing and what you've done and what hopefully we continue to do together. And if not, then hopefully in some fashion we always find a way to be able to kind of talk sports and be able to do this thing. So I wish he could be here with that, because obviously, I want to have a touching moment with my guy. But, but thank you guys all so much for 2 years. I hope we can keep going. I hope we can keep going forever. I hope we can keep doing this forever. I hope this never ends. But, you never know. You never know. But for right now, we'll keep going strong, and we're going to keep trying to do things the best way we can. Some things might be changing in the future. Who knows? Our old studio's kind of getting redone a little bit. You never know. It's looking pretty nice right now. So, but we'll obviously wait to see what happens on that. But thank you all so much for watching. We got to get out of here. And as always, much love and peace out, Boom Crew.